task she had little interest in or talent